Hey there guys, Tom here, welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me for this, my review of The Lion King. And of course, before we get into today's review, if you guys have not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so you never miss out on my take on all things movie. And of course, leave your thoughts on this Disney classic right down there in the comments section below so we can carry on this discussion. I will try to apply to as many comments as I can. Disney's The Lion King. This is not just my favorite Disney movie of all time. This is my favorite movie of all time. Period, full stop, end of sentence. I've never met a single person who doesn't like this movie. This movie is so beloved by many people, including myself. This was the film I think I watched most as a kid. My childhood consisted of The Lion King, Teletubbies, and Thomas the Tank Engine. Like I said, this is my favorite movie of all time. And of course, being my favorite movie of all time, the reason I'm reviewing this film today is because we have the new Lion King coming out, which I am just ridiculously excited for. I know some Lion King purists out there are against this remake. They don't want the original touched or its reputation tarnished in any way, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what Jon Favreau does. So I thought, well, let's review the original, because what other opportunity am I going to get to review this movie that I just think is absolutely perfect in every possible way. This is one of the very few films I consider to be absolutely perfect. This movie is flawless. There is nothing the only problem I have with this movie is that it ends. That's the only issue I have with this film. Otherwise, this film is perfect from start to finish. So let's talk about some of my favorite things about The Lion King. I just love the story of this film, from Simba, wanting to be king, learning from Mufasa, and then eventually going through that struggle of then losing his dad, running away, the uncle tricking him, and then coming back and taking his rightful place as king. For whatever reason, this story and this movie just had such a profound impact on me as a kid, and it still does every single time. I still cry every time I watch that Mufasa death scene, every single time, and I'm 25 years old and I still cry. And I'm not ready to see that scene with photorealistic lions. It's just gonna kill me. I also love the behind the scenes story of how this movie came to be. Because when you watch some of the behind the scenes stuff from this movie, they talk about in the movie that this was like Disney's B project. Disney really didn't care about this film while it was being made, because at the same time they were also making Pocahontas. And that was the film that Disney was really putting all their bets on, and that was the movie they really cared about. Lion King was kind of a sort of a side project, and Lion King, I feel like, ended up being the better of the two movies, even though I do like Pocahontas very much. Lion King ended up being the most popular out of the two and ended up being their A movie. The music in this film is, like everything else about this movie, absolutely perfect. All these songs, it's almost impossible to pick a favorite song from The Lion King. It is damn near impossible. I'd be very curious, do you guys have a favorite song from this film? If you do, make sure you jump down in the comments section below and let me know what your favorite song from this film is. Look, if I had to pick one, depending on the day you ask me, it might change, but I really love Circle of Life, and opening the film with that song and the way they open the movie is just perfect. It immediately you understand the tone of the film. You get so much from that opening scene. And then going from that into the scene with my favorite all-time Disney character, good old Uncle Scar. Life's not fair, is it? You see, I shall never be king. Part of me does wish that they were bringing back Jeremy Irons to voice Scar in the new version, but I am happy we got Chiwetel Ejiofor. But Jeremy Irons voicing this character, I mean, is there any other voice you can imagine doing Scar for this movie? Probably not. He's just that perfect mix of evil. He's got a lot of sarcasm. I love the sarcasm of this character. I just think this character is absolutely hilarious, and that's what makes him such a lovable character. Even though he is the bad guy of the movie, and even though he kills Mufasa and does some horrible things, but every line of dialogue from Scar is absolute perfection. And then you have the three hyenas. They're just hilarious. And I think also, speaking of the hyenas, that is one of my favorite scenes in the film, is when Simba comes back and Scar blames it on the hyenas, and then they are actually the ones that end up killing Scar in the film. It's a very dark scene that happens. Like, the villain gets eaten by his henchmen, essentially. And a question I've always had is, we know Scar died in that fire and gets killed by the hyenas, but did the hyenas survive that? That's a question I've always wondered, and I don't think they've ever answered that, but I'd be very interested to find out. And I'm also very interested to know if they're going to run with that same ending of the hyenas being the ones that kill and essentially eat Scar at the end. Because I think you can get away with a lot of this darker stuff in this original movie than you can in the photorealistic version that's coming out next week. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play that and how much they can push the boundaries with photorealistic looking animals. So let's talk about some of the other characters in this film. Of course, you have James Earl Jones voicing Mufasa, and if you're going to bring back anybody from the original cast into the new version, it had to be James Earl Jones doing that character. Mufasa is just everybody's dad, right? Like, he is the Disney character that I think everybody looks up to as a source of inspiration. And that's another scene that I think gets a lot of people emotional, is when Mufasa comes back and talks to Simba when he's in cloud form. And it's not just the songs from this movie, Hakuna Matata, Be Prepared, I Just Can't Wait to Be King. It's the Hans Zimmer's score in this film that makes it so powerful in these moments. Because I'm willing to bet that if you watch this movie without the score, this film is nowhere near as good. It's nowhere near as impactful. You cannot just have the same impact from this film with dialogue alone. The score behind it, I think, is what makes it so powerful. But my god, if Timon and Pumbaa aren't two of the best side characters ever in movie history. Their dialogue back and forth is just perfection. Again, everything in this movie is absolute perfection, but Timon and Pumbaa, the quippy dialogue, they're also loyal friends, they also help Simba out at the end there, and they stick with him all throughout The Lion King. And does anybody else remember that Timon and Pumbaa animated series they had going for a while there? I used to love watching that. Who doesn't love the ending of this film? That final scene with Simba walking up Pride Rock, taking his place in the circle of life, letting out that big roar, and then that music from Hans Zimmer swelling as he does that. Every time, that scene just gives me chills. Every single time. Just the whole mythology around this movie. Everything about it. This movie is timeless because there's no humans involved in this film. It's all lions in Africa. You don't really know what year this film takes place in, and that's what makes it so timeless, is that you could watch this movie 30 years from now or 50 years from now and it still would be the same as it is. It would still have that same impact. All the themes of this film are relevant no matter when you watch this film. It's one of those films, I don't know why I have such an emotional, deep connection to this film, but I do. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I just watched it on repeat as a kid. It is by far the movie that I've watched the most. I put this movie on like every few weeks. Even just in the background while I'm doing other things. I just have this movie on 24/7. And I never, ever, ever get sick of watching this movie. So guys, that'll do it for my review of The Lion King. What do you think of this movie? Make sure you jump down in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts. What's your favorite song, your favorite character? Where does this film rank amongst the other Disney animated classics for you? Let me know in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies. Look forward to my review of the brand new Lion King coming out next week. I'm so super excited for that film. Oh my god, I can't wait. Thank you very much for watching, guys. My name is Tom, and I will see you guys next time.